All right, guys. This next topic is about the Boston migrant situation and the cost that's skyrocketing in Boston to help deal with the migrant situation. Oh my gosh. Things that make you go, what, man? I mean, Mayor Adams caught slack from the community about giving out a pilot program which included credit cards that prepaid credit cards that would total amount of $53 million. And you know what? It might be a cheaper option than actually the option of administrating 3 meals a day, which the delivery cost, the contracts, and everything like that. Boston might just follow New York and offer prepaid credit cards to migrants. Let's take a look into the costs and tell me what you think. Because, man, this might be one for all my mags. This might be a reason for people to say we have to get migrants out of the country so that it doesn't destroy the cost of housing migrants doesn't destroy the country. If you're a mag, drop mag in the comment section. And if you're not, tell me what your thoughts on the cost. We're only talking about the cost here, people. And the impact that happens. If you support migrants not being supported and it coming from the taxpayer dollar, drop MAG in the comment section. If you think we should be giving out pre credit cards, say yes in the comment section, or just drop your thoughts on us giving migrants credit cards and this being possible for happening in Boston. Let's run it.
Tonight, we're getting a closer look at the impact a new temporary migrant shelter is having on the Roxbury community.
The shelter is set up in a rec center, and community members have been telling WBZ that they had no warning and they had no say in it. WBZ's Beth Germano is live for us in Roxbury tonight. And Beth, we keep being told that the shelter will be temporary, but that doesn't help the people who are affected right now.
Well, many in the community are actually concerned the shelter will go beyond the May 31st deadline indicated by the governor. And those who use the programs here say they're still waiting to hear about new locations they have been promised. There's both empathy and frustration, and one local business owner understands both.
These are suddenly busy days for Roxbury restaurant owner Norvia Pena. In at 5 a.m. to start preparing over 200 meals in 3 shifts for migrants who arrived at the Melnia Cass recreational complex across the street, with sympathy for their situation.
They don't know what's going to happen to them, so I feel for them. I feel the same way 40 years ago.
That's when she arrived from the Dominican Republic at 10 years old and has been running Fort Hill Bar and Grill for almost 20 years. Now she's a local business owner hired by the state to provide meals at the shelter, calling it a lifeline after the pandemic nearly shut her down.
Today it is only $150.
All coming together in a matter of days.
Having my meetings, working on my meal plan, calling the people the vendors that I'm going to be working with.
But the shelter is a source of controversy in the community since these beds have displaced many programs.
Okay, I want to run that back. This is the impact of the migrant situation, and maybe it's helping boost things. And tell me your thoughts. I want to hear from you. Yes, you listening right now. There's a cost to administrate the migrants when it comes to housing and nutrition. Migrants have children, and we have to feed these children, right? We have to feed all these people 3 meals a day, and people are outraged because they're saying we have veterans and citizens who are not getting free housing or assisted housing, and they're not getting 3 meals a day free. So people find that to be a problem. And if you do, mags, drop your mag in the comment section. Drop it right now. People find this to be pretty disturbing, that veterans and people of the United States, citizens that are struggling, they don't get afforded this opportunity. And that is a problem because this is coming from taxpayers, and some taxpayers say, no, No more, no more. Yet, this giving credit cards to migrant might be a cheaper alternative than doing this. I mean, they said this was a light day and they had to prepare 150 meals, 3 meals a day. You can imagine the cost that's impacting on the state budget. While it's helping this young lady's restaurant, right? It's helping the restaurant after she said after sales of COVID helped her restaurant decline. This does help, but it's a cost. It's a cost. It might be cheaper to give them credit cards. Let's just take a look at this again, and then we're gonna run it into another video, because I wanna let you know about the cost. And you let me know what you think. We only talk about cost here, people.
Their situation.
They don't know what's going to happen to them, so I feel for them. I feel the same way 40 years ago.
That's when she arrived from the Dominican Republic at 10 years old and has been running Fort Hill Bar and Grill for almost 20 years. Now she's a local business owner hired by the state to provide meals at the shelter, calling it
Hired by the state.
a lifeline after the pandemic nearly shut her down.
Today it is only 150.
All coming together in a matter of days.
Having my meetings, working on my meal plan, calling the people the vendors that I'm going to be working with.
But the shelter is a source.
Yep, you see it there. So putting money into the migrants does go into the economy and it does stretch, but people are saying, nah, that's not enough. All right, guys? So let's take a deeper dive into the cost that's hitting Boston taxpayers' pockets. What's the problem?
Has not been shy about how much money sheltering migrants is costing taxpayers.
The I-Team's chief investigator, Cheryl Fiandaca, dug into where some of the money is being spent, obtaining vendor contracts for services and hotels, including a no-bid contract for $10 million for a company providing meals.
I'm not going to let that slide by you. You know that. You know it. $10 million to a company to help provide meals. $10 million. And we're not talking about the same amount of migrants that are in New York. Boston has way less migrants, and we don't know the number that this particular vendor is working with, but this is just one vendor, $10 million. Now you tell me that giving out credit cards may not be a cheaper option. Boston just might think about giving out credit cards instead of the administrative cost of working with vendors. Hey, just get this credit card and just go to McDonald's.
Where some of the money is being spent, obtaining vendor contracts for services and hotels, including a no-bid contract for $10 million for a company providing meals.
Dozens of migrant families sleeping at Logan Airport and hundreds in overflow shelters like this one at Melnia Cass. But those locations do not include the thousands of homeless and migrants living in hotels and motels. So just how much money is the state paying for lodging? Records obtained by the I-Team show the state has 17 contracts for housing, totaling more than $116 million. Those contracts are only for fiscal year 2024 and end in June.
This is something that we have been asking the administration for information on for better part of a year, and have been stonewalled on the information. So I think for you to get it, I think it's really important.
In some cases, the hotels are collecting money from the state for 3 meals a day. $16 for breakfast, $17 for lunch, and $31 for dinner.
What? Listen, my Mags is about to be hot right now. Mags, listen, Mags, I know, I understand. $31 a day to administer dinner. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of nights you don't even spend $31 on your meal for dinner. And we're talking about working class people. We're not even talking about homeless and underserved citizens, all right? So I know Mags are heated right now at the cost that's coming from taxpayer dollars.
meals a day. $16 for breakfast, $17 for lunch, and $31 for dinner. That means $64 a day per person. The state's right to shelter law requires it provide families with refrigeration and basic cooking facilities. But some of the accommodations do not have those appliances, leaving the state to contract out for food and delivery. Citing the emergency nature of the crisis, the state gave Spinelli Ravioli Manufacturing Company in East Boston a $10 million, 6-month no-bid contract to provide meals and delivery services. Spinelli's tells the team, as an approved state vendor, we have the ability to deliver emergency meals and mobilize quickly. We are not the exclusive meal vendor and do not have a guaranteed contract beyond this initial emergency period.
Wow. Things that make you go, what, people? I mean, how many contracts does Boston alone have? You have to think about Denver. You have to think about Chicago. You have to think about New York. I mean, with all the money that's being spent, couldn't we just fix the situation at the border and have proper asylum program put in place? You tell me your thoughts. Where do you want your tax dollars to go? Do you know anybody who's less unfortunate, who's down bad right now? Could they use a credit card? Prepaid credit card? Could they take 3 meals a day? Would they want free housing right now? Tell me your thoughts, man. Tell me your thoughts.
We are currently in the bid process and are looking forward to continue to aid the state to reach their goals. Spinelli's contract with the state runs through the end of March. Senator Peter Durant says these contracts are just the tip of the iceberg on the overall cost of the crisis.
The mass health costs, the educational costs. And that's the concern is the money has to come from somewhere. And so there's only really 2 options, right? You either raise taxes or you cut services. So this all kind of flows downhill right straight to the taxpayers.
In January, the governor proposed an $873 million supplemental budget that would help pay for the current shelter shortfall. The rest of the money would be used for the projected cost of emergency assistance in 2025.
Wow. Let me know your thoughts. Where should the money come from? Let me know. Where should the money come from? Should the money come from cutting programs in your community? Or do you want your taxes to go up? Because the money has to come from somewhere. And in every community, from Denver to Chicago, New York, and Boston, they're cutting programs. They're, using the schools and certain facilities to house migrants. They're using federal property to want to put in temporary housing. The cost is going up. We're not talking about the health care cost yet. The cost to put children in school, because, schools are going to have to expand due to this. We can't just have classrooms expand without the actual cost of needing more aid go up. Where should the money come from? You tell me, because it's your money. Should you cut your rec program in your community? Or do you want to pay higher taxes? You let me know.
The money has to come from somewhere. And so there's only really 2 options, right? You either raise taxes or you cut services. So this all kind of flows downhill right straight to the taxpayers.
In January, the governor proposed an $800.
I'm not even going to run any more of this video. You let me know your thoughts. You let me know your thoughts. Things that make you go, what, people? Tap in.